唔一定純白嘅婚禮先係最浪漫，着上色彩繽紛嘅婚紗，為人生重要時刻添上色彩。清代家私件件手工精細，私人博物館館長為你親身講述藏品背後嘅故事。
結婚代表兩個人關係嘅一個新開始，亦都係人生一個新嘅階段。
一件適合自己嘅婚紗，可以令人記得你最靚嘅一刻，更可以為你嘅愛情做最好嘅見證。
婚紗款式依家好多變化，唔再局限喺身材與高度。
婚紗一樣可以着出個性。
So luxury is all in the details. It's all about the craftsmanship and the cutting, and also the fabric that the designers use. You can definitely tell what is luxurious by the touch and feel of it as well, and how it looks on the body. Luxurious fabrics are very comfortable to wear, and they should enhance your body very nicely.
Hi Juliet！ 近年咧，香港女仔咧係中意啲咩款式嘅婚紗？
I think in the past few years, we're seeing brides becoming more experimental with their style, and they're favoring more stylish gowns with a more high fashion editorial vibe over the classic styles.
今年最新嘅設計有咩款式㗎？
We actually have it all over this rack here. So we have like colorful gowns. We also have boudoir-inspired gowns, and also feathers as well.
A lot of feathers I see.
Yes.
All over the rack.
I think more and more brides are accepting of colorful gowns. Colorful gowns are getting more popular nowadays as a fresh and vibrant alternative to the conventional white. Why white gowns are chosen as the default is because of that traditional association of white with purity. But I feel like brides are right now more open-minded about color, that beautiful gowns are not limited to white gowns only. So in fact, we are the first bridal shop to establish the colorful gown trend in Hong Kong just about 2-3 years ago. We did an editorial shoot with Zoe Tam, who wore this really beautiful, really gorgeous blue ruffled tiered gown. And we styled it in such a way with like belts and boots and hats to make it very, we styled it in a very editorial fashion. And that sort of imagery really shook up the market because that sort of style has never been done before, and that left a really deep impression.
近年咧都好流行輕婚紗啦，輕婚紗係咩嚟㗎？
Those are very light, airy, dreamy gowns. They're quite popular nowadays over like the more heavy gowns.
Like the more traditional ones, right?
Yes.
咁其實晚禮服同埋婚紗有咩分別咧？同埋咧，婚紗係咪一定要白色嘅咧？
Honestly, there is no hardline distinction between those two now. I think before you would see that brides are, there would be like just white gowns for the ceremony and then maybe sparkly gowns for evening. But now that line is increasingly blurred. So honestly, you can wear any style you want.
And
or
any color, right?
Any color as well.
Just
for
whatever
ceremony.
you feel like.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, exactly.
The dresses all look so gorgeous. Can we try them on?
Of course you can.
嗰個馬甲款啦，再加埋呢個疊膊，好特別啊！
係啊，因為呢度咧好似性感啦，但係咧佢性感得嚟又好似公主 feel，所以 best of both worlds。
Yeah，Julia， 點解你會揀呢兩條裙俾我哋嘅？
Okay, so let's talk about Juliana first, actually. So Juliana has a really slim waist, so this corset really highlights that.
Yeah,
and it's
really
also
flatters her.
Yeah, for sure, and it's very boudoir inspired as well. And also, it's these romantic off-the-shoulder sleeves.
Yeah.
It really highlights your collarbone and just like very feminine and very graceful.
Yeah, it's like at the same time it's very sensual, but then it's
Yes.
also very princessy as well.
Yes, just a hint of sexy.
Yeah, yeah.
Best
Sure.
of both worlds.
I know, like sexy but classy.
Definitely.
但係你嗰條咧好顯白咯。
For Joyce, so we have these like yellow tiered layers that give a lot of dimension, and also these feather accents.
I
give
love
that-
these feathers.
Yeah, so the feather accents give a lot of movement and drama as well as you walk. And yeah, so it's just like you're floating on air.
And this pastel yellow, it's so nice.
And because you can carry it so well, because your skin is very fair as well, so you can definitely carry this color very well.
Beautiful.
Yes.
係我好中意呢啲咧羽毛，佢話係即係逐條逐條咁樣去手工咁樣繡上去。
即係佢個質地咧，令到你好多層次啦，咁跟住好似喺一個 garden 咁嗰度，好似 princess 嘅 feel。
公主。
係啊，好公主 feel。
哇！呢兩條裙都好性感，但係咧佢又好優雅，同埋好特別啊！
You guys look amazing. So for this dress, it is a crystallized fishnet, and so it gives that hint of sexiness, but it's balanced out by all these ruffles, which gives it a lot of structure and dimension. So it's sexy, but being so very tasteful and very high fashion and elegant.
Yeah, I feel very high
Pull off
fashion.
so well.
And
Super impactful.
I love this kind of like bling, but it's kind of subtle at the same time.
Yeah, so when you move, you can actually sparkle a little bit.
And it shows a little bit of skin here and there.
It literally looks like something that's taken off of the runway. It's super
Very
impactful.
couture.
I love
Yeah,
it.
super couture. That's the right word, couture.
It gives that wow factor. I think the worlds of bridal fashion and couture are colliding. That expect to see a lot more bridal fashion being inspired by the runway, by couture, and you can expect to see a lot more daring cuttings, very interesting, very high quality fabrics, and also luxurious embellishments as well. I think you can expect those styles to be more popular in the coming years. And we're at a really exciting place right now with bridal fashion that we are redefining what bridal wear should look like, and to see that there are actually no limits to it. And for yours, you look amazing, so stunning. And mini dresses are all the rage at the moment, and because it really like elongates your legs.
Yeah.
Yes, so you look taller. And also it shows off shoes too, so you
Yes.
can play around with your bridal shoes.
And I love this feather cape.
Yes,
I
this
know,
cape
It's
is
so cute.
yeah, this cape gives a very dramatic vibe, and yeah, just that touch of drama and movement. It's
Right.
very high fashion, very editorial.
So it can flow.
It's very flowy too,
Yeah.
super lightweight, very easy to walk into.
You look
Yeah.
very comfortable.
I know. I feel like I just got out of bed, you know, after a magazine photo shoot.
Just makes an unforgettable impression.
Yes, exactly. 而家 sexy 嘅款式咧，會唔會多女仔揀㗎？
Yes, more and more brides are going for more of a sexy or sultry look and not afraid to show some skin. And because everybody and every bride deserves to feel like an absolute goddess on her big day, right?
Exactly, yeah.
So that's what we're going for.
You gotta show all your beauty while you're still.
Young, right?
exactly. Always, yeah, always beautiful, always beautiful.
而家多唔多人會揀黑色嘅裙嚟做婚紗咧？
It's getting more common. I see a lot of brides wearing black dresses for pre-wedding shoots, especially because black is forever fashionable and chic and timeless, and also slimming as well. So it looks good on everybody, and it's also very modern and edgy.
So they usually wear it for pre-wedding, right? But not so common when it comes to actual wedding.
I think evening gowns they do wear as well, but pre-wedding is definitely a big statement. to wear black.
Evening gown sounds good as well.
I know.
Just gotta flaunt it on the big day.
You can go for any occasion.
For sure. We want to inspire brides to incorporate more fashion elements into their wedding journey. In terms of personalizing your bridal style, it comes down to two things. Number one is to choose the right gown. don't be afraid to step outside of your comfort zone and try on gowns that have a lot of modern, luxurious elements to it. And then secondly is through the power of styling. So through styling and through putting on the right accessories or garments, you can totally transform the vibe of a gown instantly. So for example, you can wear leather jacket, boots, belts to give like a tougher vibe, or you could wear statement capes to make it more stylish and high fashion. So these are the sort of elements that you can add to your outfit to make it more stylish.
破舊立新，大膽設計，重新定義美學，婚紗更可以突出每個人嘅優點。
揀一件自己真正中意嘅婚紗，你嘅婚禮將會錦上添花。
古董嘅價值咧並唔可以用金錢去衡量，因為每一件古董家私咧都保存咗一個年代嘅回憶。其中最迷人同埋最有魅力咧，一定係一啲同皇室有淵源嘅古董，因為好多呢啲藏品啦都記錄住君主嘅事蹟，係一本最真實嘅歷史書。Nana， 你可唔可以同我哋介紹一下開呢間博物館嘅理念同埋背後嘅意義咧？
So this year is our 9th year anniversary. We opened the museum back in 2013 with the idea of sharing our collections to the public in a way that's meaningful and unique and something that was previously not available in Hong Kong.
今次展覽嘅主題特色係咩？同埋可唔可以同我哋講下參觀者咧會見到咩類型嘅古董咧？
So our current exhibition is called Majestic, and as the title suggests, it's all pieces with imperial or royal provenance. So some of the more spectacular pieces include a very large Zitan cabinet, which was owned by a princess who was the youngest of Emperor Kanxi's daughter, and it formed part of her dowry. Then we have another piece that is a shrine that was commissioned by the Emperor Tianlong. So that's, you know, in terms of craftsmanship, it's incredibly intricate, and the fact that it was so well preserved makes it really, really special.
啲古董係點樣收藏翻嚟，同埋當中有冇一啲好難忘嘅故事咧？
So most of our Chinese pieces come from around Hollywood Road, actually.
Okay.
So, yep, my father was the collector who started collecting, and in the 1970s and early 80s, he would, you know, go up and down Hollywood Road, making friends with all the dealers. So, you know, he's had relationships with them that are about 40, 50 years long. So I would say they know our collection possibly even better than I do. So they're very aware of what's still missing from our collections. So I would say that's primarily how we source our Chinese furniture.
Wow, this is awesome. 可唔可以同我哋介紹一下咧？
So what we're looking at here is a 4-piece cabinet set that we have reason to believe belonged to one of the youngest daughters of the Emperor Kangxi, and it was part of her dowry. So I think one of the first things I would like to draw your attention to is really just to use your hands rather than your eyes. So if you just run your hands over this and feel the grain of the wood, you might understand why it was such a highly prized piece of wood. It's just that, you know, the ancient Chinese really thought that it was a very silky wood. So actually when visitors come, it's a little bit odd. I do ask them to close their eyes and just touch it.
Oh, wow.
Yeah,
you don't get to
before.
do it most museums,
Right,
which
exactly.
is nice.
Which I think, you know, is one of the reasons our museum is unique, because we're really kind of encouraging people to use all of their senses. So what is very unique about Chinese furniture is the engineering behind it. So in the Ming Dynasty, it sort of reached its apex. And Chinese furniture basically just slots together like this. So there are no nails, obviously there's no such thing as glue. So it's really all down to the craftsman to make sure that the joinery is always perfect. So even a piece like this, which looks very imposing, is actually in essence a jigsaw puzzle. So when you dismantle an object like this, quite often at the back you'll still see markings from maybe 200 years ago.
咁我又想問下呢個保養嘅狀況啊，因為你望個櫃咧就好靚仔嘅，咁點解過咗300年後咧個櫃仍然可以係咁樣嘅咧？
What makes Zitan and Huanghuali furniture so priceless, I suppose, is because the quality of the wood itself. Zitan, I think, is one of the only types of wood. It's a type of cherry wood, which is so dense that it just sinks if you drop it into water. It doesn't float.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So what that means is that it's extremely resistant to things like carvings, which is why you can, afford to have very, very meticulous carving, and it won't, just shatter into dust. And also, if you were to open the cabinet and take a deep breath, you can still smell the original smell of Zitan, which again is an insect repellent. So a lot of the things that would typically degrade wood over time, humidity, doesn't matter because Zitan comes from places like Madagascar. Insects, yep, insect repellent. So really, short of, somebody hacking it to pieces or a fire, they're quite indestructible. 我知道呢間房裏邊4張凳咧，背後一個故仔咧，關於一個好出名嘅官嘅，可唔可以同我哋講下咧？ So basically, these 4 chairs are a very small selection of what we imagine to be a huge grouping of chairs. So these chairs belong to a man called Prince Gong, who is one of the last princes of the Qing dynasty. When war was about to break out, obviously there were a lot of people, princes included, who were on the run. And had to sell off a lot of their family heirlooms. So these 4 chairs came from the infamous Prince Gong mansion, and they were sold to a Japanese dealer at the time. Yeah, it was quite an impressive holding. The reason that I find these very interesting is throughout the exhibition, we talk a lot about royal and imperial icons and what are the very, I guess you could say, subtle signals that something is made for an emperor. And one of those things is the dragon. I'm sure, as you know, everybody associates the Chinese emperor with a dragon, but in fact, there is a hierarchy of dragons, and only the emperor himself can use a front-facing dragon with 5 claws as his imperial symbol.
5 claws.
Right.
Okay.
So some, you can look at other dragons elsewhere and they would be facing off to the side, or they would have 4 claws, or 3, or 2. And that's what you can see in the very middle of these chairs, which is what makes them very special indeed.
Well, it's really cool because when I look at each of the chairs, it's because it's the 3D of the dragon.
Yeah, exactly. And I mean, I guess it's not actually the most comfortable chair, because if you were to sit down on it, which again we encourage our visitors to try, the dragon kind of digs right into your back. I think it's, it's a reminder that the emperor is always watching.
呢件展品咧，我曾經喺其他博物館都見過，其實係咩嚟嘅咧？
So in essence, this is a shrine in miniature. It's an exact replica of an existing temple. For many reasons. I mean, I think first of all, just look at it. One of the things that I spoke to you earlier about was about the quality of Zitan wood.
Yes.
And how, because of the hardness of it, it allows you to do so much in terms of carving. And here you can see, I mean, they pulled out all of the stops. So this is actually a replica miniature shrine that the Emperor Tianlong commissioned. And we'll talk a little bit more about when he did that, and we have actual evidence of when he did it. But first, I normally invite people to very carefully, but have a closer look at it. And you'll see that, everything from the doors to kind of all the dragons to even up here on the eaves is just,
mind-blowing.
Yeah,
like the
it really
scales on the dragon.
Exactly. It's one of these pieces that to me makes it clear why we have to run the museum the way we do, which is, not put these objects behind glass, which, even the best of times is reflective, to really kind of allow people to get as close and as personal as they can. And then, so let me tell you a little bit about the back of this. So you'll see the back of the shrine is an inscription in 4 languages. So you have it in Chinese, you have it in Mongolian, Manchurian, and in Tibetan. And essentially what it says, and this is a summary, is that the Emperor Tianlong, in the 34th year of his reign, personally commissioned this shrine to be built. And what this shrine tells us is 2 things. One was that the Emperor Tianlong was a big believer in Buddhism. He was devout. But I think secondly is that he was also a big believer that Buddhism could be a unifying force for his very vast empire, which was why it was a deliberate choice, a political choice, to have this message inscribed in the 4 languages that would have been used at the time.
Now, I don't know if just our lighting, but I perceive a little bit of a pop coming from the words. Is that just inscribed into the wood, or is there gold
It's
paint?
inscribed in gold.
It's inscribed in gold.
Yeah.
Okay, so there is gold there.
Yeah, exactly.
Linda， 你知唔知道做一件咁嘅藝術品咧，需要大概幾多時間，同埋需要幾多個工匠？
So this would have been made in one of the imperial workshops. And actually, currently at the Hong Kong Palace Museum, they have a gallery where, as one of the designs, they have a lot of records of, the correspondence that goes between emperors, especially the Emperor Tianlong, and to the worksmen. He was very meticulous about what he wanted and very discerning, demanding. And so I think it would have depended, obviously people were not rushing, but he was known to go down to the workshops himself to have a look to see how things were going. So I think it would have been a very, very elaborate project.
So you say that they have documents of the emperor giving instructions. So all these instructions are written instructions. They wouldn't be called into the room and kind of given oral instruction.
It's possible that it was both. Nobody wanted to take responsibility for getting something wrong. So it's like, let's have the written correspondence. Like a receipt,
wrong, you might get your
basically.
head chopped off back
So
in the
let's
day.
keep the receipts.
中國古董家私具有深厚嘅中華文化底蘊，亦係獨一無二嘅工藝品。欣賞佢設計嘅同時，亦都可以了解埋佢背後嘅故事。你會發現，就算係一枱一凳，都別具風韻。